Hi, I'm Nick the Awkward Yeti, and this is another Patreon Creator Chronicles. And today I'm talking a little bit again about getting out of your comfort zone. And the reason I'm thinking about this is that I do these videos weekly for Patreon, and I do enjoy doing them, but it is an obligation that I have to do weekly, and I don't always want to be on camera. This is why I do comics, because I can hide myself from people. But with the videos, it has been a really good way for me to force myself out of my comfort zone because of this bit of an obligation I have to do them weekly. So I do find that it can be quite stressful, but this is the kind of stress that has a long-term benefit. And I do think getting yourself out there and uncomfortable is a very important part of life if you want to achieve anything, really. If there's anything that you want to do, it will require some kind of discomfort to get there. And that could be with relationships or with a job, with a hobby. I'm learning piano right now. It's a very uncomfortable thing to be so bad at something, but that is something that you have to just work through and get past if you want to improve yourself really in any way, any sort of self-growth. In one of my past episodes, I played a song for you because that was a very uncomfortable thing for me. But being on camera in general is fairly uncomfortable, and it's something that I've been wanting to work through. Before I started doing my comics, let's say I was in a meeting at my corporate job and I had to say something in front of a group, we'll say between 10 and 20 people. I would read from a piece of paper and I would be shaking and I would turn red sometimes, and I had to read from the paper. I couldn't even memorize it. I was too nervous. When I did my first book tour in 2015, I spoke in front of about 300 people at the Strand bookstore. Maybe some of you were there. And I was fairly comfortable after that because I was forced into it, and I kind of had this acceptance when I went onto the stage that it is what it is. I can't turn back. I must speak in front of these people. And that helped me a lot in terms of talking in front of people, and I don't really turn red so often anymore. I think being sort of thrust into these situations has been extremely helpful for my personal growth and becoming more of who I feel like I am inside. That has had a lot of difficulty getting out. The heart that's been trapped in by the brain is sort of gets forced out every time I do this sort of thing. I do encourage you, if there's something that you want to do, to go out of your way to find some discomfort. So let's say I'll go with music because that's something that I can relate to. If you're playing music and you like this idea of playing in front of people, but maybe you are stopping yourself because you think, well, why would anybody ever want to listen to me play? I would strongly suggest you at least start recording yourself. There are a lot of resources where you can share things. Let's say you're a guitar player like me. I often will record myself playing and I'll upload it to a website where it's just guitar players, and I'll get a little bit of feedback on it or see if people like it. Taping yourself is good to critique your own work for the main part of it, but it's also good to get it in front of people. So if you do find that there's something that you want to do and you're sort of crippled by this fear of doing it, take some baby steps, but push yourself just a little bit, and I promise you it will pay off over time. And I do know that it's easier said than done because I have spent many years crippled by the fear of this discomfort that comes with putting myself out there. If you know what I do, which is make these comics, a lot of them are very vulnerable and very personal, and those can be very difficult to put out there. And initially, I would make a comic, and it felt so personal to me that I almost wouldn't share it. And then I would finally do it, and I would be like shaking. I was so nervous that somebody would critique this thing that I felt very close to. But the more you're able to do it, the more you can maintain that personal connection to your work and sort of separate how other people react to it. If you're doing something and you're trying to get yourself out there or make some kind of move in your career, relationship, just start taking those baby steps. I believe in you. And look at me, I'm doing this video and I was not feeling like doing a video, and I'm going to show this to about 150,000 people may watch this, or at least a few seconds of it, and I'm gonna let it happen. So if you'd like to support my work, please go to patreon.com/theawkwardyeti and comment below with what are you working on? What are you doing to push yourself? See you next week.